I've had to argue, pull the records out and all this.
I've never seen it.
And, you know, hey, you $700 bill here, that's not us. Fine, it's not us. You know, all that kind of stuff.
Well,
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Condo Council.
Reached a contract, so that's why we're canceling.
You're fine. Sorry. This is our first meeting of 2026. As a reminder, the Condo Council is an initiative of the Crow Board to allow a space to facilitate conversation between our celebration condo associations. I'm Jacob with Celebration Town Hall. We all manage elevated on-site, Swing Manors, any of those and all of those. We also have Danica McNair, our community standards manager, on the call as well. And as far as pass it around, if I can get your just name and the association you're with, so I can just take an attendance of this, and then we can then we'll begin.
You want me to start?
Yeah, I'm looking at you to start up this one.
Charles Custer, Carlisle North. I'm replacing Julie Pino for today only.
Okay.
Anna Haver, Mirasol.
Both Appleton, Mirasol.
Went Holland, Terraces.
Roger Fox Terraces at Celebration.
Marty Collins, yeah.
Ray Bates, ours and Park Condos.
Tommy's Juilliard Park. We're technically replacing Arlene, if we're saying replacing. I don't know.
All right, thank you all. No real updates this time from our end. Eric Oppergaard remained the liaison to this. He's unfortunately not able to attend today. As far as your board liaison for this group. I know just one item that had been brought up in the past was the discussion of window buttons. I know that was a big one. Actually, just recently at the last ARC meeting, one association brought window buttons. Yeah, up to ARC. And it is actually going to be board for further discussion on it, as far as I know there were differing opinions on ARC in between our consulting architects as well. So the board's taking that in their hand to look at it as they understand the request and where it's coming from. So more news will be coming on that. But thank you for submitting it how you did and working with Mauricio on it.
Is this for all the windows or just transom windows? Or, I mean, each place is different.
All windows. We
All
just wanted a replacement on hand in case something happens. And just to know if a tree goes through it or whatever. What Jacob was referring to is, we had just questioned if we could put the mullions between the panes of glass. Because at some points they had worked as a projectile. It doesn't matter if Crow comes back and says, no, we want them on the outside, that's fine too. At least we have a window to defer to. Ours are 21 years old.
Do they have a replacement company that will do those months? In other words, where do you get the replacement?
We're using Pella, the Defender series, and they make the window with the mullions.
Yeah.
So are they gonna do you allow the residents to replace the windows with your approval?
Yep, if Crow approves first. So we went and looked at a window, quite a few windows. We approved the window, then we took it to ARC here. And once ARC is done with us, all they'll have to do with Mirasol is to come and fill out a renovation request for those windows.
We had a request and I went to the window place and said, nope. You gotta do this, because it's gotta match, right?
Yeah.
It's gotta match exact.
Yes.
And that's the problem for us. Either the bottom frames are too big or something different and so that's good that you can do that. That's excellent. So
And really, if we need to put the mullions outside, that's fine, because when you look at it, you're really not going to tell that the window has been replaced.
that's the way it should.
So we'll just say, we got approval from Art for a specific window. It has some name, which I can't remember. And as long as you put in that window, we will give people the approval, but they still need the final art approval to actually install it. So they send in all the other stuff, like pictures of where it's going and all that. with our approval and then well, I did it myself, they approved mine. But they all get approved eventually.
Yeah, we do the same. We
Okay.
approve it, we give it to them, and we say it's subject to their approval. And then we say, you gotta come back, because we don't know what they're gonna say, and they may come up with something we don't like. We say, then we'll give you the final. But not on windows, that's doors,
Oh, everything.
patio doors.
Door hardware,
Door hardware, we don't even give it to them. We just tell them, hey, this is what you gotta have, that's it, do it.
That's actually a problem we all have. We have approved door hardware that they will say, when you sell your unit and they do the inspection, isn't approved, and we haven't worked that out.
Well, fortunately for us, we haven't had an issue with that.
we've had the same thing upon the sale. They'll say, oh, no, you gotta change that before you can close, but yet previously it had been approved already.
And it made the original to the building
Yeah.
20 some years. Now it's not acceptable.
Let's say my concern or our concern is that some people want these, wireless setups and
Yes,
and they kind of deviate from the basic cylinder versus the handle. You got push buttons and they want to go different things. So we're going to look at coming up with a policy saying this is what you can have. The problem is we're coming in a little late on some of this. Not all our push button door are the same.
Ours, we're trying to get to be the same.
Yeah.
However, normal people want a Bluetooth.
Yeah.
So we have to bring that back to you. Okay, that they Bluetooth, it is the same, it looks exactly the same, but they're opening it with their phones. And considering the amount of keys that are lost or combinations that are forgotten, it might be a good thing.
Are there any topics that anyone would like to use this time to discuss today?
well, we sort of got into, how do we work with somebody for things that actually in our rules and regs say are approved and have been for ever since I lived there, at least 10 years. But when people go to sell, right now it says each owner should have applied for an individual art approval or things our rules say are approved. It sounds like sort of
The resale inspections, yeah.
Yeah. And like, can we just say all 302 units are approved for these, even though they don't all have them? Can we send you a list of all the ones we know about and update it every sometime? Or do you actually need 302 individual applications approved?
Since it
We need
tip
the actual applications.
for Danica,
We need the actual applications on file for each unit.
yes. So to reiterate what she said, it would be an application on file for each unit, as that's the way we look at it whenever it comes to a resale inspection. We just pull up that property records as it pertains to any of their ARC applications, anything like, well, in the ARC applications in this case.
Could the association send them in for all the owners? As opposed to having each owner have to do it?
To look into that, I think most likely.
You can, yes, you can send it in, but if they do not have the update yet, then the inspection, once the resale is done, is going to be based on what is physically on the property.
Oh, that's fine, but if we applied for them for all the people that have them, and eventually you said, okay, then your records would be right? You'd have the 300 pieces of paper that you need.
Yeah, I follow that theory.
May I make a suggestion? When I first started doing French doors, I had it go where the owner would come get approved from us. And then we would send it to the ARC for the town.
Okay.
But the town didn't come back to us. They went back to the original owner because their form, they're the requesting agent. So what I did for that was, hey, all I need to tell them is they only have contingent approval and they have to get a letter from them. And that letter has to come to us. That way, all I do is track. I check every 30 days. Did you get a response? Yes or no? You didn't get the response, it's like not getting a permit from the county. Hey, you gotta go get this done. It makes it, I think it'd be easier, because you got 300 units, that's a lot of paperwork back and forth, coordinating. I would. Me, I got enough on my plate. I don't need to do that. I just need them to give me the letter. And it's not a big deal to have, take for 30 days in advance. Where are you on that
If
job?
you get a blanket approval from Grower as to what any possibilities that you want, then our residents now just come back to us with a renovation request. Because we had it, some of our locks were approved about a year and a half, 2 years ago. And so when a resident wants to change their locks, they give us a rental request. If it's what is we brought to Crow, then we let them do it.
What we do is, if you have somebody comes in, they want to change the locks, or we say, hey, if the gold chrome or the gold plate, whatever is corroded, you got to replace it. We just tell them to do it because it's an existing policy set forth when the building was built. Crow should have that. So we don't get into Crow. I just say, hey, you can do that, that's fine, because they should have the same policy from the original construction of the building. These are what the locks look like, because all it is a gold handle and a cylinder. And when it gets different, that's another. But if you want them, I can send them to you. No big deal. I just haven't, can't change it until you do it.
Based on that, I don't understand why, some owners turn over original handles are being rejected.
In our case, it's not original handles, it's ones that they put the push button locks on, which we've approved, but they never got pro approval, so I understand that, we were hoping there was a streamlined way.
That would be a problem for us if they go there. And then what we say is, hey, if the Crow doesn't like it, then you gotta change.
Yeah,
That's
ultimately,
what
that's the word.
Crow is always up here.
Yeah, I mean, Crow has the last, as far as I'm concerned, for aesthetics, Crow has the say.
Yeah.
And then we'll,
And sometimes, very honestly, some approved stuff that we had blanketly approved here is, dinged as far as when it comes to closing. The other thing is, we're supposed to all have white fans on our exposed patios. Couple of times they were missed, and my population is saying, why did Crow ding mine? Well, yours is brown, but the guy next door, it's white. You're supposed to have white. I really would love some consistency there on your part to look at all these fans when they're closing and say they're supposed to be white.
come to you. What do I tell them? Do you want every request I get? I don't have a problem. I wanna be, because what I'm gonna do is tell everybody, don't change your locks, don't do this. You gotta do this for Crow, for us, and then you gotta get the Crow approval. Because we say it, we're not the final say.
No, I mean, that's your current process.
No. If somebody asks for to replace a door hardware,
Mhm,
we tell them it needs to be a Dorian or the other or something similar.
mhm.
And the cylinders are pretty much the same. Some have collars, some have self-fitting collar to go in it. We don't get into that. And we haven't been done by anybody when we have inspections for Pro. So we're saying it's fine. So I wouldn't give you that. I mean, we have resales. First thing they want to do is change the locks. Or we tell them to change the locks. Because what we do, what you guys don't do is we go in and we go to the patio, French door areas. You only go to the front door. Doesn't do any good for me to have a front door change and the other ones look like they're rusted out and everything else. So we go in and tell them, you gotta change it.
And with us, you only go to the patios because the front doors are not always exposed, but the patios are exposed to the street.
Well, that's the other thing. Our patios are exposed to the streets. The front doors are not, but they inspect the front doors. And it doesn't matter to me. if you want it a certain way, I'm gonna,
And there was a policy that was on the website, you know, the original door policy. And it was on our, you know, on the Provo, you could go to our link to our stuff and that was all on there. So sometimes I think it gets lost in translation later.
and then there are some people are now asking for these electronic locks where, they don't have gold on them at all. They'll be black. And we say no.
Kind of the color.
Yeah, but I don't know with technology, if that's the appropriate response, but we tell them, no, we don't get a pushback, then we're fine. You know, so I don't mind really popping it up to you guys. Because this way we'll at least be consistent, especially with the push button things, they're getting kind of carried away with that. I
They do
personally,
make cylinders that you can't tell. It's all on the inside and it doesn't show. So, but it's a cost thing, you know.
Yeah.
Anything else, if you have to replace 3 sets of aluminum.
Yeah. So,
So I know,
What we require is that no matter what you're putting on there, you can get in by the key entry, or you could be combination to the office, which is locked up in key track.
we don't.
Our test is Wednesday with the fire.
Yeah, we go with codes, we don't require the key, but everybody has a key. And then some of them, they play games. The one with the key is for the contractor to come in and use. The one with the password is what they want to use. And I know this because when we do the fire inspection for the sprinklers, they say, oh, you can't use this bottom. Then we tell them, tape up the bottom lock, because we'll lock somebody out. They do that.
So it would help if you would give us some clear clarification that it may already be in your document somewhere, but we aren't smart enough to find it.
so I know that each process right now is a bit curated for each different of the associations based on what their require or what your requirements are. And so it isn't as, it is a little bit by bit as time as they go by. I do know that, you know, with patio door hardware, they do look at that on resale inspections. Again, that's only from areas they can access. So it doesn't mean that it is 100% consistent if there's 5th floor one that, you know, they can't see all the way up to. But if it is a 1st floor one patio, they are going to take that into account. I was messaging with
Are you
Tanika.
saying they don't go up? I think they go up on my 2nd and 3rd floor, so look.
In the open, in the hallways, yes, but not on, like, for the patio, where they don't look, you know, they won't look through the
Give
unit.
them a pair of binoculars.
Yeah, and if anything comes up against, if you hear, Danica and I both have heard about the denial of original hardware. So if that does come up and a homeowner brings that to you, just pass that to us. Sometimes we do see that, you know, when it comes to inspections with the, you know, about 1,000 inspections we're doing a month, that there is something that just isn't always correct. And if that gets escalated to typically Danica or one of the community standards coordinator, it gets that additional layer of review. And then when we'll also say that, you know, there are times that we do need to update that and we'll remove one of those or adjust that inspection feedback.
Thank you.
Because that, yeah, it does happen time to time. You know, I know as far as when it comes to the pattern book, the ceiling fans originally all were white. When Island Village was built out, they were installing black ceiling fans. So there is this whole, we have our own issues with our own pattern books and the covenants with the expansions taking place and how do we enforce it across whenever we're allowing it in some parts of the community, not in the other. Things like that are why they're looking at doing so many of these revisions to the ARC guidelines right now. Right now, anything that you've seen as proposed ARC guidelines has been tabled by the newly set board for their deeper review. And they're taking that to more, they're just soliciting more feedback and more consultation before rolling any of those out. I think they were trying to do, you know, more all at once, and now they're going to take a step back and try to do one at a time. There's
A renovation request coming up this week. They want to put a black fan in. My thing was, if you put a black fan in, you can expect that when you're going to close, pro is not going to, sanction this. Or you may be asked to take it down. So I was gonna say, cut to the chase and put up a white one.
Yeah, if there are anything that you're really wanting us to look at, especially when it comes to your covenants inspections, I would say send over what your covenants rules are, but we get them from all the associations and then trying to pass that down to all our inspectors. But we have all of that on file anyway, but if there's specific things that you're wanting assistance with during inspections, actually, I know it's coming up, your next quarter, or the condo inspections are coming up soon. And so those are things that we can also look at and help work with you based on what your covenants is and things like that. And for that, you can always reach out to, you can respond to myself. I'm going to most likely defer any covenants items like that to Danica. As she, as her team is the one that directly reports to her as far as they're going out and issuing those. So you can reach out to Danica, or you can always reach out to the town hall at Sierra Mail that we recommend to everyone and to your residents as well, as that goes to our front desk and they review them and then assign it to the most appropriate manager or coordinator to then assess. So it gets you a quicker, with the less kind of bouncing around office or anything like that. Yeah, the next message we said, yes, send them all over. We love compliance. So that's yeah, if there's anything like that, we can help, if we can help you enforcing something that doesn't conflict with ours, then we're happy to do that.
So, with the ARC, is it historical where obviously we have residents asking for the same material? So if it's a French door or a window, do we have successes where, someone actually did it successfully with this company and this model? Because as the properties age, it becomes difficult for the homeowner to go through 5 or 6 different companies and then end up with a denial. Is there a process where they can reach out to an architect or to see something historically on file for our property that would kind of help them get a starting point?
That becomes more difficult if it would be for their own property record. They could submit a records request, and where we could pull out any documentation we have for them based on a standardized record request for that. We have to always play that very fine line of not providing advice or recommendations. And so that's where.
Do y'all have approved vendors that do windows and doors?
No. Across the board, we don't have any recommendations for approved vendors to any of our, and those are for our business districts as well. When they ask for that, we've just been given the guidance that we should not, as the association, provide those, even though it is a nicer, hospitable, and helpful thing to do.
Right. It just is overwhelming when.
See, we have real managers, our management company. I do refer to vendor services them a lot. And they have given me some very good vendors, but that's our management company, real manage.
Yes, but they're recommending to their board for their association. They're not passing a recommendation out to a public, the person in the public for them to book a vendor directly, because you have no oversight of that dealing.
But using that.
Right.
Yeah.
It may be like an engineer, like a.
Yeah. So in that instance, the advice I would give is ask your management company.
Right.
And they can. Yeah. They can let you know that, and then you as an individual may say.
Yes. To get that question a lot, and then when they get denied, they are just kind of down on the board. Y'all deny me. Not enough information.
Well, we do that.
Yeah.
We do that. What happens sometimes they put in a window request, and they give me the thing. And I look at it and I say, well, what's there? It's all, I need to see the actual window. So that's why I went to the dealership to see what they had. Yeah, but it worries me because we have single pane windows. And if those frames come out, the company that put those windows in is no longer in business. So I gotta come up with something. And so I have somebody working on it now. scouting a little bit around here. And he's particularly, something with. But I'll check out.
You might want to try Pella. I don't know what your windows really look like, but they are giving us very similar windows with double panes. They give us two choice, the double panes, the Defender series that come in, so you can wash them.
Oh, nice.
They also will fit hurricanes.
What does Artisan do in that matter? I mean, I know that they kind of had, like you said, a few years ago, they went through something and almost had a short list of, that it's not a recommendation, but it was a short list of easier approval.
We have one that we got approved by Pro Art. And we say you have to use that to get our approval, or you have to go through the whole process yourself. So use that to get our approval, then package our approval with the information that Pro needs. And they've been approving, and they all are the same. So, and that vendor offers, nobody's put in the hurricane one. I don't know what would happen if somebody came in and said, we want the triple pane hurricane one. Because it looks almost the same, but it's be of a little different color and stuff because of the extra glass.
Yeah, more information is helpful and getting those processes, because as you know, I mean, the ARC committee that makes these decisions is fellow residents like you, and they do their best based off of the information and the guidelines provided. I know that was part of the feedback when the concern about the window buttons and, trying that, and the recommendation was that sometimes it's easier to allow or for allowances if the association as a whole is making a recommendation. Because, if the window has a certain tint level that may be discretionary, and then you're leaning on the discretion of the 5 ARC members, they're more going to lean towards denial just because of risk of change of variance, where it's, more of an approved or a request of the association as a whole. It aids them in knowing how to address it, which then often leads to a faster ARC approval, and then happier
The
residents.
process was really good as compared to years ago. The process this week, when we went to ARC,
Mhm.
was very organized because we asked maybe we're going to change where the buttons go. They considered it a variance and they were going to the board with it, but that's totally understandable.
Good, I'm glad to hear. We've
Yeah.
done a lot of work to streamline it and get caught up. They're not backlogged like they were, a year ago, so they're moving things through as fast as they can.
So we don't know what'll happen when that one owner that says, I want to do something different comes and we tell them no, and then we'll have to see, right?
It's kind of the price you pay for living in a condo community.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah, buy a house,
Yeah. As we all know, people, when they're happy, they're quiet, and when they're not, they're loud. And typically when it comes to that resale and the resale inspections, everything is an emergency to them.
Yeah.
And in that matter, because we have the rest of the governance to keep operating, we have those standard protocol timelines that we offer, and we don't deviate from that. That often then makes them go louder, as you know. So in that instance, you can always recommend them, if they're planning to sell and they have that time, reach out, and they want to make sure they move seamlessly through that process, reach out to our team. You can recommend them to reach out to our team. While they're very busy, they want to do the best to help make it easiest for the residents, and they'll work with them to say, hey, did you submit something for this? And if they haven't, maybe you should, while you still have time, while you're looking at selling. And so that way you can be ahead of the process instead of submitting an ARC for a door handle during your resale inspection, waiting on it to be approved so that you can complete that inspection, doing some of those call outs ahead of
Do you
time.
have a closing package? You used to have a closing package. I really haven't looked. But you used to have a closing package that residents could refer to when they're planning on closing. And I'm not sure if you have it for Crow. I don't know. I know we have it,
Mhm.
but I'm not sure. Years ago, I remember you having it.
I don't think we currently don't.
Might help.
And once we can get these ARC guidelines nailed out in the spot where I don't think we're gonna be updating, 20 of them, that might be a good initiative. Well, I can tell you right now, I mean, as you kind of related, not, but Island Village is expanding quickly where there's 4 phases being built out there. We're on phase 2 right now. 2A is almost completely built up. We just accepted some parks out there and we're accepting more townhomes now. And then 2B with the new amenity centers going in out there. They expect to hand over that amenity center and I think about 10 more parks to grow out this year. So that'll have a large pool out there, geothermal heated. And no more condos are in the plan for Island Village.
So it's only houses.
Houses and a lot of townhomes. A lot of townhomes.
It's 2B where the no trespassing signs are right now.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can get to 2A and then 2B is, there's no trespassing signs. And then they're already starting to bridge into phase 3, which is going to be mainly state homes, and then 4 is about high level, about half townhomes, half single family homes.
So when is that estimated to be complete, all phases?
Cannot remember off the top of my head. They're moving quick.
Yeah.
I mean, by 2030, I'd say. Yeah.
When's that road going?
Once all of that infrastructure is complete, then it goes to that road is to be built and subject to the county and the land rights to it as well. So that'll probably take place only after or on near completion.
So is this really, really the final piece of celebration? Because I know we were supposed to be the final piece.
Yeah, right.
So were some others.
Artisan Park was, and then Spring Lake popped in there, and then Island Village popped in there. Yes,
This was the final. Okay.
the celebration company is getting quieter and quieter, which means,
Yeah, when they start building where all the cattle are on Griffin Road, you'll see. That'll be next.
Is that road you're referring to is the one they're talking about going to Reunion? One? So they are gonna do that.
it is in plans that are available for viewing at the county level, and that's subject to the county if they end up approving those plans to build out or not.
Isn't that negative for celebration?
Hopefully some of the other roads will be built by then.
We think
If you go
so.
out there, there's a lot of stop, I mean, there's a lot of stop signs to get out there. It's just so far on Celebration Avenue, so it's not, or Boulevard. It's not going to be even upon completion, I don't think it will be a faster route or a shortcut.
I wasn't thinking of that. It's just the fact you have set community, people in celebration should know so they can voice their opinion.
Well,
The
that was,
county-
That part's already been done.
it was publicized.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, thank God it doesn't come through our community.
Right.
There was a time that we talked, remember, they
I know, yeah,
gotta go right through Island Village, right through our.
right through Artisan, yes, but that's not this one.
Mm-hmm. I remember that one.
But Google will send half the cars through there anyway.
Yeah. My friends at the sheriff's office, and they make some money for a while because people think, oh, I can go. Because that road looks really fast, right? The road out to Island Village doesn't look like a 35-mile-an-hour.
Probably 25 miles per hour.
No, that one's 35. To Island Village, then it slows down.
25. Any other topics anyone would like to discuss?
I have one.
Uh-huh.
The pool, as you a splash pad that went in on Lakeside Park, I assume that's under your jurisdiction. Okay, just a little heads up of what's going on there. I don't know if you're aware of this on Friday. They have the 3 sections for lap swimming, then they have the other half of the pool open. Since that splash pad is opened up, this was around by 11:30 on Friday. There must have been about 60, 70 people there, mostly kids. They get out of that splash pad and they go right into where the lap section is and the other section. And that whole lower part of the pool is loaded with the moms sitting on the steps and the kids playing, and they go all the way up on those plastic things that separate the lanes, playing in there. And the kids have just taken the whole thing over. There was a bunch of adults came in a little bit later, couldn't even get in the pool. Can't even get near the steps because it's just loaded. And I thought that the last part was supposed to be for the adults and let everybody go on the other side, but because that splash pad is right there, they all go in there. And the other thing they're doing now is I noticed there was one couple who had to pass to get in. There was a mom and dad and a child. And a couple minutes later, they go open the gate for somebody else, and it's another mom and dad with 3 kids. And then a couple minutes later, they go and get another couple to come in with 4 kids. So the very fact they had to let them in, obviously they're not residents. So I mean, just to make you aware, is this what's gonna happen, or is there controls they're gonna put on this, or?
So the reason it was built where it was partially was because it was behind a badge control, which it is for that main pool. But you know, issues with piggybacking in gates is always a concern. I'll make a note to make sure that we have our Parks and Recreation Department do more badge checks out there. Once we reach summer, we have Corolla has funded again the summer pool patrol, which was the last year was the first time they launched that program through a security company instead of additional summer pool monitors, which allowed for, I'm going to say stronger enforcement and more vigilance on that enforcement of the badge checking and policy. So that will, I know, return this summer. And then when it comes to until then, I'll make a note to have them continue checking that and have a little more close call or close watch to
The
Lakeside.
big thing is that the parents apparently are just letting the kids go wild wherever they want to go. And you know, obviously you don't have a lifeguard there. If those kids are running around like crazy, something happens, guess who's getting sued?
That's
Yeah, it's a problem because
I'll-
Heritage too, we had a situation where the kids were in the pool in the deep end and these kids were ages 6 to 8. And they were jumping off a raft, one of those big swan rafts, and the moms were drinking at a table in the baby pool. So they had no clue what was going on. And finally, the badge checker came through and I said, you better watch what's going on here. Because another woman was there with her child and her child got hit because they were jumping off the swan. She was little and they jumped right on her. And then he goes, well, where are the parents? They said, they're in the baby pool drinking. No, we can't have that. But this is what, it's always gone on. And we really do need more badge checkers, just to see.
It's why we can't have nice things. Yeah, it is spring break. We do deploy more security surveillance during the spring break, at least what the OCLA kind of spring break is. And you know, it's one of those, there's more, but it's never enough. And as we keep going, but we did see positive, a lot of reduced, a huge amount of reduced calls and reports last summer compared to the prior 3 summers, just from that program. While that program does only run during the summer, additional patrol units that are their main and sole focus is badge checking at pools and playgrounds. That's all they're doing. Because right now, we would go into too far depth about it. The surveillance is for, you know, all the pools, all the playgrounds with one person, which takes, you know, a few hours to do that full
Well,
round.
this person was great. I
Yeah.
have to say, the minute that this mother complained, you know, and I said something to them, they went right over and they did. They called the parents and said, hey, this is, first of all, put swans out of the pool. Those huge rats, I mean, it takes up half the pool. It's ridiculous, you know? And you go, well, they're not allowed to have the rectangular ones where they jump off. I said, so because it's a round swan, they're still jumping off and it's the same thing. So then he did, he had them take it out, so. Yeah, I mean, they did their job, but you know, but it, like you said, it's a constant
number where they can report, or how does that work?
So where should they call?
If it's, you can call the general celebration number, and if there's anyone on site that does go to them. And then if, during the summer program, we do add additional, or we do add signs for our security patrol company. So it can go straight to them and they can dispatch out.
Can they include the basketball court?
They do.
Because with these people, that basketball court, ridiculous hours.
Mhm.
And I know they're not celebration residents.
Yeah. Surprising amount of the time when they do badge checks out there is enough. I mean, it's one of those, you have 4 residents that are out there, you can have, there can be 20 guests. Yeah, because each one can say I have 4 guests. So that, well, as long as that, and that, when they do the badge checks out there, that is often something they do see.
Super, fantastic, thank you.
You're welcome.
So don't you think the new splash pad, the problem will, it's because it's brand new and people will say, I don't need to go this week. I mean, I'm hoping. Whenever something's new, a lot of people want to see it.
Yeah, and this week, I know at the beginning of last week, that start of spring break has brought a lot. I was there at 9 o'clock this morning and it was very busy. On Monday.
So when is the 851 building finished?
We're on track for August, potentially sooner. Yeah.
And where are y'all located now for digital badges?
Town hall back.
I haven't done that yet.
At Lakeside. If a lot of people are getting them, I mean, not as many as they'd like, but a lot of people are, who really do enjoy it. The digital badge option, so you don't have to, you can be on a walk and just pull your phone out and go to any amenity center and get right in. Put your badge on you.
We don't have that just yet, right?
No, it's live. It's out right now.
Sign up for it.
You can sign up for it and then yep, the app opens, it pulls up your ID right there. It'll scan and open any door that your badge will let you in.
And can we do that at Lakeside now?
Yes, you can. Will do what?
Will go on the wall.
Unfortunately, it will not go in your Apple Wallet because they need the app to be able to show that ID when there is a badge check taking place. So they can pull that up and show it. Yeah. No, it's not as nice as the Disney where you can just pull your phone out and it scans right away. You have to have the app at least running in the background. So if you don't have the app closed, you can just pull your phone out and it'll unlock those gates.
People don't keep their cards in their wallet. Well, what ladies don't, because, the card's always in my pocket.
It's nice to have that.
It is.
So both of them are still good.
Both kinds?
Yes, yeah. So this is an addition. So your badge will always be your badge. And then this is an additional addition. It's a $15 fee. That $15 goes for the licensing that Crow had to buy for those. So covers the program's cost.
I don't want to buy a phone.
No, but no, it's not phasing out anything. It's an
It's an addition.
And that's forever, that $115 fee?
Yes, so if you replace your phone, you have to go to get it set up. Well, I think, yeah, but yeah, it will stay there.
Can I ask you guys one more question? And then I'll shut. You have finance committees in your associations? Do you have finance committee?
Yes, it will.
No, actually, no.
We had some residents that will look at stuff and give feedback. But if it's a meeting, we have to cite it. So we decided that we kind of had an informal one with them.
We made sure all the residents get to see the budget. They get to go through it. We can give them, the whole, well, how it works is we do the budget, we let them see it. But if somebody gets a lot of questions, I said, wait, let me make this easy. I'm gonna give you our draft explaining the reason for each line. And I give them that and then they can make any comments they want or whatever. Because, like you have pest control. Well, pest control, they'll say, well, that's somebody coming once a month. Well, no, it's also getting rid of the raccoon. It's also,
You said it to us.
yeah. That's nice. So, but we don't have a finance committee. The board's active, they know what's going on. And then we just let it. But if somebody wants to make a committee, we don't tell them they can't.
Right. Or
I mean, if
they
they-
want to add, yes. And right now, we don't have too many residents that wish to participate. Sometimes we
Don't
do,
aggravate it.
sometimes we do.
We don't either right now.
And then we
If
invite
needed
them
to,
to
we
join the
would,
board.
we would put one in place, people wanted to volunteer to do it. But right now it's between the board and our management company.
And if you have a finance.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Do you allow the chair of the finance committee to see your revenues?
Individual, sheets, like if you owe $3 or something, no.
You don't.
How do you do that by, in your documents?
do you say they can't see your accounts receivable or because
Well, wait,
according to
no,
statutes, you can.
It's, if it's the thing that you're allowed to see on the statute, which is people in arrears and stuff. But they could, I told them they could, but they never bothered to actually do the work to come and look at it.
It's on the website,
This,
No, your son's.
certified letter and 30 days and 10
but it's
days.
password protected and it's just stuff they're allowed to see.
Most residents would not see that.
But that's in our long form financials. We give out short form ones. Long form financial shows every check and everything else, and technically, you're allowed to see that.
Yeah.
But, we will not publish it anywhere because that lets you get into all our accounts, and we don't want you to do that, but I'd say, and most of them, unfortunately, in our finance committee, are people that don't live here full times, and so I'll say, well, come in, I'll show it to you. I'm not gonna send them by email.
Well, I could see where they may want to see it. I don't know if they have to see every account, but part of the budget is, hey, how much do we really expect to get from these people? We got deadbeats, are they really gonna pay? And then how much money are we gonna lose? So you got to factor that into the budget.
No, that isn't our budget.
And we had
We don't have
finance
the
committee.
ability.
We don't, we're very fortunate.
Yeah, we have to.
And we have the finance committee. And it meets once a month because of the litigation.
That's exciting, that.
Yeah, and we're thinking about going to quarterly. So, yeah, that's one of the reasons we did for the construction litigation that we because it was such a big number. But points to that.
Our, yes, we went up like $12 a quarter this year. But the big thing was, hey, they didn't say good job. They didn't say that, they said, what the hell is this $18,000 for, what do we call it? Carpenter fees. We got a problem with carpenter fees. Anybody dealt with carpenter fees, by the way?
That's
just a
still
couple.
done because of it.
How do you address this? I mean, I got a 3-story building, they want like 12, 18 grand for me to go around plugging holes on 4 or 5 buildings. 4 big buildings and then the carpet. And I'm thinking, that's way too much money, so.
They took 20 pounds of honey out of one of our buildings, up by the 3rd floor of the building, and the hole was this big. That they had to repair, that was special repair.
To get up to high levels, lifts costs a lot of money. I mean, they just.
Oh, I know, but I don't wanna hit it for 18 grand every year. That I wanna, somebody told me, Nixon said, we can spray it. We can spray it just before the season. And that may not be so bad. You go up on a lift, you still gotta pay the lift.
A deterrent,
Yeah,
because
but
it's a season, like
yeah, but you could spray it and it may not cost, he said it wouldn't cost you that much at all. Some areas you could do it from the land, out in the other. I was just wondering how other people handle this. Because I'm definitely gonna get zinged on that, but the $18,000 budget thing, one guy said, why don't you just buy those little jars? They count. They were on that, they were on.
We just spent 50, how much thousand on this back? Well,
Oh, prevent,
Oh, backflip.
you gotta do it. It's,
You got a letter from
Oh,
the,
you got a lot of backflows.
I got 8, but we only had to replace 6, but still, it was a fair amount of money.
How much?
50 something thousand.
Well, they're like 8,000 a piece or something like
Yeah,
that.
they're expensive. We had to replace a
I
bunch of
agree,
doors
it's
last year.
expensive to replace.
Yes.
What did
It's
you
not- they're
use
not
to
cheap.
we have
replace?
7 buildings and
Dynafire.
85 parks, and we got
Fire?
the letter to certify all of our.
This is the worst.
Yeah.
We do the tests every year, but they fail.
By next year,
Yeah.
at the end of this year, we're gonna have everything replaced as far as backwards go. We just, plus you get stuck in the middle of course on a Saturday, at 10 o'clock in the morning when you can't get anybody. So now we're gonna replace them.
When you do, make sure you send that paperwork over to the ECDD, so they have it on record, they don't request it from you in the future.
Things only break on weekends, you know that.
Yeah, always,
Friday
10 o'clock on Saturday morning.
Friday night's a good time.
Friday night.
Friday night.
6 o'clock it starts.
After 5 o'clock, though. Has to be after 5.
Yep,
Now, are you talking about the domestic war?
Yes,
Club?
yes.
Oh, see, we only got one
Hmm.
for the domestic war. We have fire. So the report in the CCDD is, you're talking about.
Domestic water, reclaimed water.
They came after me last year.
came after us. That's a
We just did.
undertaking for sure. But now we are tight and all the records updated. Never hurts.
Can I make a suggestion?
Uh-huh.
Where, so after the hurricane, you guys did a really nice job of coordinating, cleaning up. Like, and I know it was CCDD and PROA and the communities where the excess stuff could go in the media. And then there was a general day where everyone would pick up because of the quantity of trees every spring. We got trees and it's liability for slips and falls. Would anyone, do any of our dollars go to like help fund or sponsor like a spring cleanup where all the residents would have an opportunity to have a special pickup? How would that work? With all this cold damage, I'm surprised I haven't seen anything
What I
initiative started.
share is, it's a big undertaking and very expensive to clean up. Typically, I know what Crow did is, since they have more kind of leverage with our townhome service communities, where we only have 2 landscape providers for those, and then one of those landscape providers is our main park provider. We were able to allow one location and they brought it all there, so we did one bulk pickup and then split those fees out based on each of the communities. And then after that, now all service area communities and Celebration as a whole has added budgetary lines for tree trimming
Right.
to help try to reduce the amount of dead in trees because of the easement
My
trees.
issue is with the leaves. So
On the leaves.
the biggest pain point of any resident, whether you're in a single family home, a townhome, or a condo, is the different companies that come and blow it across the street.
Mhm.
If no one's picking it up and we don't make a central plan to try to pick up when you've had a huge dump. I understand it costs money, but there are big trucks that will vacuum that stuff up. I would be willing to pay more of my fees to know that it's on a centralized plan. If you see the number of walkers and bikes that are slipping on these leaves right now, it is a liability and it's unsightly, but we know it's coming. So we always act like it's not our responsibility. And if you actually look at what CCDD for their landscaper, I've read all their contracts, leaf pickup is not in their contract. It's part of their maintenance. They just blow it around. So that is a special line item. But I think as residents, we should be partnering and sponsoring something. And after the hurricane, everyone came together and really cleaned up town. And it looked great. And ultimately, those are the pain points that residents, they complain about it. They don't have but no one makes a big plan. It's a big community with a lot of trees. We know it's there. So I think if we all pulled our resources and we had a set day, our contractors could be picking up and we make an effort, we could try to clean it up. Set dates to try to make a concerted effort so that they aren't blowing it back on after my contractor be paid extra to come and clean it up. And they're blowing it back on our buildings because I've sent videos, I've sent emails, I've tried my best. It doesn't work when there's just the volume of stuff because it does take more labor to pick it up. I understand that, but I'd be willing to pay to get it removed so we don't have to deal with it.
But the CCD fix it up in the street, right? That's what their street.
The
sweeping
street sweeper
program
is not for leaves. It's
That's
not really supposed to be
a challenge.
To branches and heavy debris.
Yeah.
And I know we know that challenge because so many people live against the park and you know what they do with their leaves?
Yeah.
Blow them into
Give
the
them
park.
to you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then we do, and then we have to. Right now, our landscapers are inundated with leaves, and that's in our, we report to the board.
No,
So
they
this
do not
issue is
have
hard.
a line item.
Homeowners. For the homeowners, landscape providers not taking their leaves that they're supposed to. And making it someone else's problem is an issue.
It isn't a line item in their contract if you look. And I've had contractors bid and the reason they said, oh, it's one of those freebies. They're expecting them as part of their service to do it, but it isn't a line item where they specifically pick up so many times a year with their vacuum truck, with their billy goats, with their other things. So, it needs to be addressed. I think you would make very many, just like putting the pumps in the waterways and less algae. Those are the things that are the biggest pain points as they're driving down the road, that shall probably get a lot of complaints of it. We could be solving with our resources.
It is, but I can add that to our next meeting with CCDP for discussion.
Only because after the hurricane, everyone came together and really made a plan of where to put the stuff, and then y'all had a plan to pick it up. And I don't know who paid for it. I would have been willing to pay more.
You would think they would want to remove those leaves because they're gonna go down in the storm drain. It goes into the retention
It
pond.
also makes your turf not as
I
successful.
mean, I mean, the whole purpose of retention ponds is to be deep enough so you don't have to worry about it, and they haven't done anything, I'm sure. I've never seen anybody go out there dredging out those retention ponds, because that'd be a lot of money. I
know that that's something CDD is actively working on, is the issue with a flow into their pond system. They actually did dredge, what is that street? Not Market Street. But yeah, section of Market Street. It was a lot, you're right. But they are looking at that as the issue of, 30 years of pesticide runoff and different things that are affecting the chemical balances of the ponds, and that's why they're having the issues that they're trying to combat now. But I'll add it to our list. We hold quarterly meetings with CDD, and that's a great one.
I would love to help organize that, get you vendors, give you good suggestions of people that could do it. I've asked our vendors to offer their services and, try to come up with a solution for some of that stuff, because I know street sweepers not designed to pick up on that.
Yeah, I know. We make sure that's in our scope of services with our, with the parks and with the service area townhomes of, building. And that, because that is a big ask of the townhome owners as well. They want those leaves gone and they want them raked out, and they want to keep their sod as good as it can be in that heavy leaves. But yeah, that would be one I would direct you. Well, I'll take this to CDD, but I would direct you to go to CDD.
And I thought maybe I need a side hustle.
No, it's gonna be more infrastructure requests over.
I'm gonna buy a Billy Goat in a truck and I'm gonna start.
Actually, I was letting our own landscapers to do that. We put everything into a pile ourselves, kind of with our management,
Right.
and our maintenance. And we put everything into a pile, and we would have to pay extra for our landscapers.
And I mean, we end up doing it in
Yep.
this much just because we're tired of blowing that back on our buildings that we've just cleaned.
Well, thank you all for coming. I'll be scheduling another one of these for most likely in June. Early June is what I'm aiming for. And if you have any questions, again, that email select, if you can send to us. If there's anyone that you need on this email list, reach out to me and I'm happy to add them. This is, an environment for you, so it's only as good as you use it. And I thank you guys for coming out and participating today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
So, right.